All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ramblin' Rams. This is the first episode of the offseason for the whole league, not just for the Rams, but for the whole NFL. I'm James Turillo here with Jordan Baird. Jordan, how we doing? The offseason is here.
Wasn't my favorite Super Bowl that I've ever watched. But it's a welcome off season. A lot of positives to take away from the year. Just an unfortunate end, but it's been a good year. We had a great season, and hopefully next year being back in SoFi can bring back a little bit of the glory days a little bit.
Absolutely. Last time it was in SoFi. We know who won that. So I saw a post from a Bengals account. I don't follow them, but it was like a graphic of like them in front of like some of the Bengals players like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow in front of SoFi, and they were like, "It's time for revenge. The Super Bowl's in SoFi." And I was like, "Dang, okay, the Bengals are coming for it." But I think I saw it because someone like some Rams account reposted it and like commented and was like messing with them or something. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know how good they're going to be with their defense, but a team with pretty good defense is Seattle, and that's why they're Super Bowl champs. We gotta go over that, of course. Congrats to the Seahawks, Super Bowl champions. Obviously it's not how we wanted it to go. I know you were pulling for the Patriots. I was pulling for Cooper Cup, not necessarily the Seahawks in total, but I was pulling for Cooper Cup. I'm glad he got his second ring. But yeah, the Seahawks defense is ridiculous. And I think the part that hurts the most about it is that Matthew Stafford and our offense cooked their defense twice this year, and neither time did we win, and they're Super Bowl champs, and we didn't even get there. I think that's the hardest part about it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I know we only made it to the divisional round last year, and I've said this repeatedly throughout the season and last season, but man, I feel like this is back-to-back years where truly I feel like we were the second best team in the league, and it's just unfortunate because you run into these great NFC opponents like Philly last year and Seattle this year, and to our credit, you pushed them as far as those teams would go. You had them right on the ropes, both games, but unfortunately, we've just been. I think maybe a 99 team captain away from, separating ourselves from what has been the strength of the NFC. And all credit to Philly and Seattle; they were great teams, in each individual season. Seattle, say what you want about Sam Darnold. I think at this point I'd consider him a top 10 quarterback in the league. He played great and won the Super Bowl, and their defense is maybe one of the best defenses in NFL history, truly.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at it, they dominated this year. They were the number one defense all year. And then in the playoffs, you rock the 49ers, you completely destroy the Patriots, and you beat the Rams. So that's how you earn your Super Bowl.
2 years in a row, the Rams were the only team that gave the Super Bowl champion a run for their money in the playoffs. Last year was the Eagles. The Eagles blew out the Packers. They beat us by one score. They blew out the Redskins. They blew out the Chiefs. This year, the Seahawks get a bye. They blow out the Niners. They beat the Rams by one score, and then they blow out the Patriots. So 2 years in a row, I think, and by no means am I, bragging about being second best, but I think it hurts more knowing that we were second best and not, it's not like we were the fourth best team in the league. We were like, oh, we had a good season. We were the second best team in football 2 years in a row. We were.
Yes.
And I know last year I feel like you can argue that because we were 1-4 to start the season. We only finished 10-7. It's not some crazy good record. But like I said, they were the only team to give the Super Bowl champion Eagles a run for their money, losing 28-22 in the divisional round, being 12 yards away from winning that game. And I think, we've discussed this before. If this isn't your first time watching the Ramblin' Rams podcast, you know that we've discussed this. If the Rams win that game, I believe and you believe they win the Super Bowl last year. And if they beat Seattle in the NFC Championship, we can only assume that they do the same thing to the Patriots that the Seahawks did last night.
We would have destroyed the Patriots.
I agree. I agree. And I think it would have been nice because the Patriots have beat us twice in the Super Bowl. And it's just so frustrating knowing we were we're another touchdown away against Seattle, or one changed aspect of that game, and we're there instead of them, and we're sitting here right now talking about how the Rams are 3-time Super Bowl champs, maybe 4 times if they beat the Eagles last year. Maybe we're talking about back to back. I know it's a stretch, but you never know. I mean, anything could have happened, so it definitely hurts. But one good thing about this season that I know it sucks that the Rams didn't win the Super Bowl. They didn't win the NFC. They didn't even win the division, but our quarterback won MVP. Congratulations to Matthew Stafford, 2025 NFL MVP for the first time in his career. He just turned 38 the other day, by the way, so happy belated birthday to our QB, Matthew Stafford, as well. Definitely a good week for him. He said it best, though. Next year, hopefully he won't be at this award show. He'll be or at home preparing for another game at SoFi. So congratulations to him. Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, all credit to Matthew Stafford. I think we both have said this before, but just that very first moment, I remember I was at some family's house with my brother, and I got the alert on my phone: Rams trade for Matthew Stafford. Well, I said right then and there, we're gonna win the Super Bowl, and I never lost faith with that, and we did win the Super Bowl. And now it's just, I argued with many people for many years about I felt like Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Fame player. And I actually did make a list over the past couple of weeks of I think he's the 16th best quarterback of all time and top 20 quarterback of all time for sure.
Wow.
This MVP just cemented everything that we both already thought about Matthew Stafford.
Mhm.
His arm talent is unmatched. I am very grateful that he's coming back for next season. After we lost to Seattle, I felt like, man, I was a little hesitant for a second. Like, is our window closed? Like, can we truly get back to the Super Bowl and win it? But when I saw it's in SoFi, man, and then we got Stafford coming back, we got Adams coming back. We got to figure this thing out in the offseason. But I feel like and Mahomes is hurt next year. I don't know if he'll be back at all. But
Mhm.
even with Mahomes, we have the best quarterback in the National Football League going into next season and the league MVP, which, I believe over the past however many 70-ish years that they've been giving out the MVP. This is the fifth time I believe a Rams player has won it. We had Roman Gabriel, Kurt Warner, Marshall Falk, and now Matthew Stafford. So I won't take that for granted. Not every day you get a league MVP, and it's very special the one we did get because he already did deliver his ring. So Matthew Stafford has nothing left to prove. He's a walking Hall of Famer, a living legend, and I'm grateful that he's coming back next season.
Yeah, you couldn't put it any better than that. You said he's the 16th best quarterback of all time. You said you think?
Yeah, I made a list.
Do you have the
Maybe I'll
list?
post it on Instagram. Yeah, I don't have it written down in front of me, but I did create a list of I had him right below Kurt Warner. I had Kurt Warner
Mhm.
15, Matthew Stafford 16, and I think right after him I had Bart Starr
Okay.
for Green Bay. So I'll have to look and see. I don't have it memorized tit for tat, but yeah, tried to be pretty unbiased with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sick. You're gonna have to send that to me. Maybe we'll make a post about it on the
Yeah,
Ramblin'
for
Rams
sure.
Instagram.
I did my top 10 quarterbacks in the league for going into next year too. So and I
Oh,
had
that's
Matthew
awesome.
Stafford one because my brother sent me his list, so I went ahead and made mine really quick too.
Nice. Do you remember who your top three were for current quarterbacks?
Yeah, I had it one Stafford, two Mahomes, three Allen, my
Okay.
guy, four Lamar, five Burrow. I think I had six Hurts. I think I actually had Sam Darnold seven.
Wow.
Oh man, and I can't remember after that. I had Caleb Williams 10th. Something like that. Something along that line.
I think a guy you have to give credit to is Dak Prescott, who had a phenomenal year this year, just not on a good team, and that defense is just atrocious. So
Yeah,
very overlooked.
I do have love for Dak Prescott. I do actually have an autographed Dak Prescott jersey, so shout out Dak.
That's awesome.
For me, just the people I have above Dak would be like Caleb Williams, for example. I just think he has a much higher ceiling than Dak at this
Hmm.
point, and I don't want to hate too much on Dak, but I just feel like he's had his opportunities. I know they didn't have the team this year, and he just hasn't quite lived up to his billing, the highest paid player in NFL history.
Right. That's true. I forgot about that contract. That's right. But yeah, you have Matthew Stafford number one as the best quarterback in the NFL. And if there's anything that I said before the season, I know I said the Rams were going to win the Super Bowl. I ended up being wrong, but I believe I said something about Stafford being in the MVP conversation. I think I either said he's going to be the MVP or I said he's going to be a finalist. So I was, even if I said he was a finalist, I was still right. I
Yeah,
said that either on one of the early episodes here or I might have said it on the James Trillo show or back in the summer with one of my friends, but either way, he ended up living up to my expectations, actually exceeding those expectations and winning MVP and almost sending us to the Super Bowl as well. So, I mean, 4,700 yards, 46 touchdowns, and 8 picks is just ridiculous. It's
phenomenal.
ridiculous. And he deserved it. And I think, and no disrespect to Drake May. I think Drake May is a very good quarterback. I'm sure he'll be back in the Super Bowl plenty of times. He plays for a great organization that's won 6 Super Bowls already. But I think after last night, I think we realize who the better quarterback is between Stafford and May. May played that Seahawks defense, couldn't get anything going for 3.5 quarters. Stafford lit him up twice, both
Yeah.
in Seattle. So I think it's safe to say that they selected the correct choice for MVP, and that's John Matthew Stafford for sure.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Uh, I think uh, I think the best part about it is that during his speech, he had his 4 daughters up there, and I thought that was awesome. And he said, "I can't wait to be back here next year." And the camera pans to McVay and Connor Williams. They're like, "Let's go!" Like you could tell they were so happy. Uh, we already kind of touched on Matthew Stafford coming back, but with him coming back, I did see something about Les Snead saying the last few years he's been in the middle with like, oh, I want to get talent while Stafford's here because he's getting older. There's only so many years left. You have this Hall of Fame quarterback, but you also have a very young team around him, and you want to kind of preserve that for the future. You don't want to, because they went all in to win Super Bowl 56, and then the next year they had some guys get hurt, they had no depth, and they were not good. So since then, they've been a little cautious in getting any more star players because they don't want to have to give up too many picks, too many young guys. Now, I think this offseason, Les Snead is going to say, once again, F them picks. I think he's going to go back and he's going to go and get a big name, I think that you mentioned, and that's Max Crosby. I think Max Crosby joins this Rams defense.
Wow.
I do think it's going to happen. And I know we touched up about this last episode. We mentioned their first round picks, the 2 first round picks they have, and Byron Young for Max Crosby. I also
Hmm.
you sent me a post with that exact trade, and it was funny because we discussed that exact mock trade last episode. Would you do that trade, Byron Young and 2 firsts for Max Crosby?
I do think that I probably would. I saw that report about Les Snead saying he was feeling more inclined to go all in this year,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to maybe the last 3 seasons where he was kind of like, well, is Stafford all the way in or all the way out? We got to kind of prepare for the future. But I think, yeah, I think everyone kind of sees, okay, this is in LA next year. Next year, I'm thinking it's got to probably be Stafford's last year.
I agree.
If he plays beyond next year, I will be truly shocked because I think if this year pans out differently and that's us hoisting the Lombardi, he probably doesn't come back next year. But I think he's just itching and scratching. And I think everyone else kind of thinks what we're thinking. It's back in LA. Let's, we can do this. Let's give it one last shot. Adam's coming back. I did see a report though. Les Snead said his top priority is getting long-term deals done for Puka and Byron Young. So
Mm,
that was directly from him. I know he kind of likes to play things pretty close to his chest, and he'll change his mind at any moment. So it's tough to predict exactly with Max Crosby, but if we did theoretically try to, work out a team friendly deal with Byron Young, I mean, it was 2 seasons ago. We ran a lot of three edge rushers on the field at once when we had Michael Hoyt. It
Yeah.
was an old Alabama kind of defensive scheme called like I think it was called like the cheetah package or something, where
Okay.
they have three edge rushers as opposed to like an extra safety or corner or linebacker. And maybe if we get Max Crosby and Byron Young, we can figure it out. But I'd really like to see them focus in on the secondary. Like I don't know who's all available. I did see one mock trade, us giving up our second round pick. I can't remember if it was this year or next year for Denzel Ward. Since the Browns are kind of, not the best team, I'd be all in on that. I feel like since my guy Jalen Ramsey has been gone, we haven't had like that true shut down corner where, like, when we won the Super Bowl, I'm going to stick you on Jamar Chase or T. Higgins and, do your thing. We need a lockdown corner like that, and it's not always so simple as, oh, we're just going to go get a lockdown corner, and injuries happen. Like Akello was out again this year. Hindsight's 2020. But yeah, I would be all in for Max Crosby. That theoretical Byron Young trade I would do. I'm not sure Les Snead would do it. That would be giving up a lot of assets for one player, but I want us to go all in. Like I told my dad the other day, like when we won the Super Bowl, we went and got Odell, Von Miller, and like Eric Weddle, like all mid-season. I'm like, these are veteran star players. Like
Yeah.
we got to have that same energy this year. Go out and get the best possible team to go out and win this thing.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I think going all in is kind of what you have to do, especially when your quarterback's going to be 38 years old. I think they were in a weird situation where it was like, okay, Les Snead was thinking, we have this quarterback who's getting up there, still great. He's the MVP, but he's getting up there. So we got to try to win with him now. But we got to do it by also being a little conservative with the younger guys because we need to preserve them for the future. And we don't want to give away our whole future and not win a Super Bowl, which could have happened. But they did win Super Bowl 56. So thankfully they didn't have to worry about that. But it could have happened. Uh, I think now it's going to be a little less conservative for the future, and you kind of go maybe not as much of all in like they did 4 years ago, but maybe closer to that than closer to being conservative. You know what I mean? So,
For sure.
um, another name you mentioned was Denzel Ward. Do you think the Browns would do that for a second round pick? Do you think they would?
With the Browns, you never really know what they're gonna do, so
Yeah.
it's hard to say. Who knows, man? Who knows? I think it's possible that they would because in trading, the players never quite always get traded for equal value in terms of picks that you would normally think in the NFL.
Yeah. We've seen it happen before. I mean, we got what did we give up for Von Miller? Like a late pick?
Yeah, something
Like a
something
fourth?
like nothing almost.
Yeah.
And I think we traded Ramsey for like Hunter Long and like a third or fourth round pick
Yeah,
or
I think it was like
something
a third
like.
and a fifth or something
Yeah,
like that.
so
Yeah. Yeah. And especially when these teams, that they're trying to get rid of guys. Not to say that the Browns are trying to get rid of Ward, but if they are, they're going to get less value because teams are going to know that they're desperate and they're trying to get rid of them. So who knows? Maybe something like that'll happen. Maybe it's not exactly Denzel Ward or Max Crosby, but somebody on defense that a team is looking to get rid of that has a veteran star that isn't on a good team. They're trying to get rid of them, and maybe we can get them for decently cheap without giving up a
yeah.
first round pick.
Really quick on Max Crosby too, though he is talked about on his podcast a lot. He is a giant Matthew Stafford fan, giant Matthew Stafford advocate. Said he grew up a Matthew Stafford fan, so maybe it's destined to be with Max Crosby.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people say that about Stafford, though, that they're a big Stafford guy. Like, I know CJ Stroud, like, only watches film of Stafford. Like, he doesn't watch Mahomes, he doesn't watch Allen, he watches Matthew Stafford. So,
That's funny.
but with the way he played in the playoffs with CJ Stroud, I don't know. I don't think it's Stafford's fault, but maybe he needs to change something. But sorry, I had to throw shade at an Ohio State quarterback right there.
No, it's okay.
My
It's okay.
my Michigan fandom kicking in. But no, I do like CJ Stroud. He's a really nice guy. He was not exactly great in that divisional round game against the Patriots, which is crazy to think because if they win that game, they probably go to the Super Bowl. And it would
Yeah,
have been arguably the two best defenses in football, Seattle and Houston, going head to head. Final
yeah,
score might have been 3-0, and then everyone would have forgotten about 13-3, which would have been nice. But
yeah.
I was joking with my friends last night watching the game, and when it was like 9-0 or whatever, like in the third quarter, I was like, maybe there won't be any touchdowns and people forget about 13-3. And they were like, hey, that's true. I started rooting for like a 9-0 final score. I'm not even kidding. But yeah, that game was not the most entertaining. I think we can agree on that.
I agree.
Yeah, it was not the best Super Bowl for sure, but I'm glad Cooper Cup got a ring. But I do want to go back to trade talks and the draft, and I want to touch up more on the draft. We have 2 first-round picks. Can't remember the last time we had 2 first-round picks going into the draft. Do you think we go in with both picks, or do you think trades are going to happen?
Oh man, like I said, with us, you just never know. I will say I've been actively looking at first round pick. I mean, mock drafts ever since we got eliminated. So
Hmm.
I've seen some interesting ones. I don't remember his first name, but Rodriguez out of Tech, the
Okay.
linebacker. I saw us getting him in the second round of a mock draft, so I was like, oh man, if we could steal him in the second round, that I mean, we have great inside linebackers, but
Mhm.
the more the merrier. I would kind of I've seen many mock drafts have us getting Malachi Lemon.
I
I think
saw
that's his
that.
name,
Yeah.
right? In the first round with that pick, and you know what? I think that might be a great fit. He's an SC guy, so actually, I heard this the other day. Interestingly enough, Cliff Kingsbury was his coach freshman year at SC. So
Really?
he's got a bit of a Cliff Kingsbury shout out our new hire. I'm really excited about that. I know we're gonna talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, he was with Cliff Kingsbury that first year with USC. So I think he would be a really talented player to add to this group. And Adams is, this is probably going to be his last season too. He said he's going to retire whenever Stafford does. So I
Did
think
he
that
officially
could
say that?
be. He actually did say that. Yeah, he said
Wow.
that. He said whenever Stafford's done, he's going to retire. Um, but I think Lemon would be one of those things where like that's a win now move because you're adding a theoretical star receiver to an already loaded receiver group. But it's also building for the future because he could be your Devonte Adams replacement to pair with Puka forever,
Yeah.
until Puka wants to call it quits. So that's what I would do personally. That's what I'm kind of hoping for.
Would you'd be willing to take a receiver even if it means like Malachi Lemon being wide receiver 3 for a year or two?
Yeah,
You would?
I know we ran a lot of 13 personnel, but just the way the game's played nowadays, you run 11 personnel. I mean, a ton of the time, and I think in the playoffs, there were definitely moments where we needed a third wide receiver
Oh
who
yeah.
could really, separate himself from, I like Jordan Whittington and, you know, I kind of liked Xavier Smith up until that fumbled punt, but he was playing some good wide receiver actually.
Yeah.
So it's not like we didn't have capable guys, but Malachi Lemon, that would kind of just put you at another talent level at that third wide receiver spot. And I think he'd be a great fit for sure.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great fit too. And another receiver, speaking of wide receiver 3, we got to talk about Tutu Atwell, who didn't play all playoffs and he was getting the big bucks. Didn't play. He was scratched against Chicago. I believe he was scratched against Seattle too, right?
I'm not even sure. I don't know the snap count, but he definitely never made a play or did anything relevant for
Yeah.
sure.
Which is sad because he made $10 million last year, and
Right.
I know I'm a biased fan of Cooper Cup, but I feel like keeping Cooper Cup instead of re-signing Tutu Atwell would have made more sense.
Yeah.
But I don't even think that's me being biased. I think that just makes sense. Cooper Cup's better than Tutu Atwell. I would have spent the extra 5 million or whatever to have Cooper Cup, but obviously that ship has sailed. Even though that sucks for us or any Cooper Cup fan, but that ship has sailed. And now maybe Lemon comes in as the wide receiver 3, Tutu Atwell. Can we assume he's gone, Jordan? Do we think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be gone. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. I know McVay has talked about how he likes Tutu, but actions are, louder than words. And just his whole tenure here, Tutu never got a consistent fit, and he had his moments where he would make huge plays. He made some big plays this year, and he had some games where he was legitimately like last year when Cooper Cup was out. He played well in that starting role, but him and McVay just never quite got on the same page, and I think it's just time for both parties to find another option.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I do want to go over the free agents too. They're the upcoming free agents for the Rams exclusively. We talked about Tutu Atwell, but here's a list of some of the guys that are going to be free agents. I won't go over every single name, but the main ones Rob haven't seen. Do we think he's going to retire? Do we think it's it for him?
Man, I just don't know. I think he probably will retire, honestly, because we do really like Warren McClendon, and he did a really good job mostly.
He
So
did.
I think it's just going to be one of those things where having seen will gracefully part ways into retirement. I think.
Yeah. Which is sad because he's the last St. Louis Ram left, but
Yeah, and shout out him. Well, Jake McQuaid, is
right.
he still around? So
Yeah, I was gonna say Jake McQuaid is
okay.
also an upcoming free agent, so that's another
Oh,
St.
okay.
Louis Ram.
So I do think Jake McQuaid will be back. I think Mevis will be back too. I think we got this special teams actually. Well, besides returner,
Yeah,
the kicking situation figured out pretty well towards the end of the year.
yeah, it's true. So we know Havenstein's probably gone. Tutu Atwell, he's gone. Tyler Higbee, do we
I
think he
think
stays?
Yeah, I think Tyler Higbee will be back. I have heard them talk about that, and he's another one too who is considering retirement. But I think he's going to come back. I would assume on a team-friendly deal because we don't really have a lot of money to be given out to these tight ends. We already
Mhm.
pay Parkinson, and we drafted Ferguson pretty high, so I'm sure he's going to be getting a little something, something. But
Right.
I do expect Higbee to be back for sure in
Yeah.
a minor role before him, Stafford, Adams all can retire together.
Yeah. I think he was making 8.5 mil, so that's a lot for him, especially because we didn't use him that much this year or as much as his contract is saying. So I think, like you said, a team friendly deal would make sense, and Higby will be back. I think that's a valid prediction. So haven't seen gone, Atwell gone, Higby returns. This is a big one. Safety Cam Curl.
I think Cam Curl will be back. He made that play to save the divisional round.
Mhm.
I think actually, when we first got him, I had really probably a little too high expectations of Cam Curl, and I didn't think he was really fitting what we were asking him to do, but he's come along, and maybe it's just taken a little more time. And it's hard to play NFL secondary, so I would like to see Cam Curl back, and I think he'll come back too. But it's tough. We do have some money. I saw we I don't remember how much exactly, but we've got a little bit of money to work around with. So we'll see if Cameron Curl can come back on what everyone can agree on a fair deal. I think he'll be back. But if a team money whips him and gives him some crazy contract, I don't think we'll match it.
Yeah. What I'm looking at right now, it says he was making 4.5 mil, but his market value was over 10 mil.
Right.
Do you think the Rams give him over 10 mil for next year?
Honestly, I don't. I really don't think that they would. And we got other safeties that are capable. I know Cameron Curl is obviously a good player, but we have Cameron Kinchins, who's been mostly really good. And we already paid Quentin Lake, which I know he kind of plays that star position in our defense, kind of linebacker slash corner slash safety, whatever we need. But so he kind of really plays that nickel mostly, most of the time. Is kind of what our star is, but he is technically a safety. So
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of weird to pay two safeties. It'd be abnormal.
Right. Speaking of corners, like you mentioned, you think Akella Witherspoon comes back?
Again, I think Akello, he's had so many injuries, so I do think Akello will be back because I don't think anyone's going to give him some crazy contract. I think McVay likes him. I think he fits our system. He's been our best cornerback since Jalen Ramsey.
Hmm.
And I really do like Akello, man. He's had some health problems, and that's really just been my only complaint with him because it's like he's been great. The only time he's not great is when he's not 100%. Like he's
Right,
either trying to play hurt and he's not playing quite 100%, or he's not playing. So
right.
I do think Akello will be back though.
Yeah. And to stay on the topic of the secondary, uh, Kobe Durant, you think he's going to come back or no?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man, because we're talking about all these secondary people, and obviously not everyone can be back. Honestly, gut thinking, I'm gonna say we keep Akello on a more team-friendly deal, and I think Kobe Durant's gone, and someone gives him a pretty nice little payday because he had a pretty darn good season, and he's been around for a while. I'm not saying I want Kobe Durant gone. He wasn't perfect in the playoffs or the
No.
NFC Championship, but he's a good corner. Good, not great. I don't think he'll be back though.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think I can see him coming back, but
I could too.
if I have to pick, if I had money on it, I would say Kobe Durant will not be a Ram next year. I think that's safe to say. And if they're looking to improve the secondary, especially the cornerback position, whether that's in the draft or whether that's in free agency, you're going to have to get rid of some of the corners you have now, which
Right.
means Kobe Durant, because they'd probably keep Akello over Kobe Durant, I would assume.
I think he'll be cheaper, and I think he's the better player.
I agree.
And Emmanuel Forbes is already under contract, so I know he hasn't been
Right.
perfect either, but I still like Forbes somewhat, mostly.
I do too. Uh, Kobe was making about million last year, and Witherspoon was making 1.2 mil, but Kobe Durant is projected to make more next year. So
Mm-hmm.
I would be shocked if they kept him over Akello Witherspoon because, like you said, he's cheaper and he's the better player. He's our best corner on the team right now, if you count the guys that haven't been re-signed. So another guy, Roger McCreary, do you think he's probably gone?
Yeah, probably gone.
Yeah.
He was a nice try, just like a small little mid-season move to help you out, but nah, yeah, just let him go.
Yeah.
It was a cool try.
Yeah. And then the last one, there's some other guys on here like Nick Hampton and Dedich and Xavier Smith and Darian Kendrick, Ronnie Rivers, Troy Reader, Jake McQuaid, who we talked about a little bit too, DJ Humphreys. But the last main one I would say is Harrison Mevis. I would assume the Rams are re-signing their kicker.
Oh yeah, Mevis will be back. I mean, unless we somehow get Brandon Aubrey out of
Yeah.
nowhere, we're gonna keep Mevis. I like Mevis too. He
Me
did
too.
a great job.
Yeah,
He was a much needed replacement, and who knows what Josh Carty is gonna do. I don't know if he's still with Arizona, but I no hate towards Josh Carty. I think it just wasn't right place, right time.
I agree. I agree. I know he posted on Instagram lately, and I saw the comments. It was like a bunch of Rams fans like, "Thanks for everything," no hard feelings. So that was good to see.
Good.
He wasn't getting hate or anything because I know after that Eagles game earlier in the season, he was getting torn apart on social media. That's for sure. I may or may not have been part of that. My bad, Josh. But
That probably didn't help his confidence, but
no, definitely
it's
not.
okay.
But yeah, those are the free agents that we think are going to get re-signed and won't get re-signed. Um, do we want to talk about the draft a little bit?
Yeah, we can talk about the draft a little bit for sure.
So we have the 13th pick
Mm-hmm.
and then the 29th or 28th?
Yes. I'm not sure which one. I think 29th. Yeah.
29th, is
Yep,
it?
29.
Okay. Um, let's see. We're gonna take a look at some mock drafts or something. I just want to see. Obviously we know Mendoza's going one. Uh, I'm just trying to see if anybody has. Yeah, this one I'm looking at from NBC Sports says the Rams take Makai Lemon from USC. Uh, that's the pick they'll use from the Falcons. And then at 29, they've got the Rams taking a corner, Colton Hood from Tennessee. I'd be very happy with
Okay.
McFly Lemon and a corner. What about you?
I would too. I would like that a lot. Maybe I am wrong, and like I said, I don't work in the NFL, so I'm more of a self-proclaimed expert than a real NFL GM. But I would just be more comfortable trying to shoot for a star, than and a veteran than trying to. That's a lot of pressure to draft a rookie corner and throw them out there. I know it worked out with the Eagles kind of recently with Mitchell and DeJean, but that's a tall task for a rookie corner.
It is. It
It,
is.
it has happened across NFL history. Ronnie Lott was a rookie when the 49ers first won their Super Bowl
True.
way back in the day, but I just would feel more comfortable with a veteran.
I agree. Maybe like a guy like Denzel Ward, like you mentioned before.
Right, right, for sure. Maybe trade that 29th pick for Denzel Ward. So Malachi Lemon and Denzel Ward, shoot, sounds like a good draft night to
Yeah,
me.
that would be great. I think after last year, I mean, last year, what are your thoughts on last year's first night of the draft? Because we trade back, and the guy that the Falcons traded up for, James Pierce Jr., just
Oh yeah,
got into a bit of trouble, to say
yeah,
the very least. So it seems like that, obviously football is the least important thing involved in that, but seems like it wasn't a great move for Atlanta, and it was a good move for us. But I'm still mad we didn't draft Will Johnson last year from Michigan, the corner that went to Arizona. And of
yeah.
course, he had to go the next pick after we took Terrence Ferguson. Um, if you could go back in time and redraft somebody from last year's draft or make any different moves, what would you do? Would you change anything or no?
Um, yeah, hindsight's 2020, so I would say I mean I'd have to go through the list, but
Hmm.
I could we get Nick Emmanuel instead of
Yeah.
Terrence Ferguson right there? I mean, that
True.
definitely would have been a major game changer, but I will say this. I do like Terrence Ferguson. I think he's got a bright future with us. And Higbee, he got off to a slow start out of the gate as a rookie as well. And McVay's just kind of like that with the offense. He doesn't
Hmm.
he doesn't like to use these young guys
We
as
saw it
much
with
as
Corum
maybe.
his rookie year, and then he
Exactly,
was much
exactly.
better year two.
Right, and there were a few guys that first round, like your boy Colston Loveland,
Hmm.
and there were a couple wide receivers last year that I really liked, but I'm satisfied with Terrence Ferguson, and I loved that trade that we did. We completely finessed the Falcons on that trade. So no, yeah, no complaints. Maybe if we could get Nick Emmanuel instead of Terrence Ferguson, but
Yeah.
I like Terrence Ferguson. And I think he's got a bright future.
Yeah, for sure. And it would be nice to see him get involved more in the offensive scheme this year, especially because we know the Rams love to have multiple tight ends on the field, 13 personnel. Uh, and who knows? Maybe we're wrong and Higbee doesn't come back. I'd be very
Maybe.
surprised, but you never know. So if Higbee's gone, that means Colby Parkinson and Terrence Ferguson are going to have to step up even more. So that's more reps for Ferguson. Obviously, we want Higbee back. He's probably the best tight end in Rams history. Uh,
Definitely.
yeah, so uh, you know, he's a big part of this franchise. He was a big part of the team, even though he was injured for Super Bowl 56. He was a big part of the team then. Uh, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, any last thoughts, Jordan, before we wrap this up about the draft, free agency, the offseason, anything?
Yeah, just shout out the Cliff Kingsbury hire. I really,
Right.
really liked that a lot. I think it was a great move. Cause I heard I can't pronounce his name. Shelchis, our offensive guy. I heard he was getting
Oh,
promoted to OC and because he didn't get snatched by another team for head coach, Shell Chase or something like that.
I know who you're talking about.
So yeah, so Cliff Kingsbury is gonna just kind of be like a senior offensive assistant.
Hmm.
So I think he's just gonna kind of come in and sort of just do what he kind of wants and kind of just like angel or devil on Sean McVay's shoulder, whichever it ends up being.
Yeah.
But I think he's very intelligent, great offensive mind, can only add positive things to what's already been the number one offense in the league. So
Hmm.
I really liked that. I'm just hoping for a good offseason and get free agency going. Shout out Cooper Cup. I was rooting for the Patriots, but part of me was could take pleasure in seeing Cooper Cup get another Super Bowl, and I still got a lot of hate in my heart for the Patriots. So anytime I can see them lose a Super Bowl, I won't shed any tears for their fans.
Yeah, it was definitely not unless you're some huge Cooper Cup fan like me. It wasn't exactly a fun Super Bowl to watch if you're a Rams fan, to say the least. A team that's beat us in the Super Bowl twice, or a team that's a division rival that beat us to go to the Super Bowl this year. It's kind of a lose-lose situation, so not exactly fun for LA Rams fans. But yeah, that's really it. I mean, we pretty much covered everything. Super Bowl, free agency, draft, pretty much everything. But another thing I do want to say, new season starts now. That's it.
Yep.
It's new season's underway. Start preparing now. Stafford's going to be back. Devontae Adams will probably be back. Higbee will probably be back. Akella Witherspoon will probably be back. You'll get new guys in the draft. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they do go out and get somebody like Max Crosby or Denzel Ward or a star player like that to help out the defense. Jared Verse, I was calling his name all year. Was he a little disappointing to me? Yes. But I think he's going to have a better year in year 3. I expect him, Byron Young, Braden Fisk, all those guys, Kobe Turner, all those guys, Poona Ford, to really step it up and be better in the second half of this season, unlike this year. And I'm going to call my shot again. I'm going to do it. Last year, I did the same thing. I was wrong. I guaranteed victory for the Rams in Super Bowl 60. I was wrong. I'm running it back. The Rams will win Super Bowl 61 in Los Angeles. Stafford will hoist the Lombardi as he retires, and so will Devontae Adams for the first time in his career. Puka will get his first ring. Adams will get his first. Stafford will get his second, submit his Hall of Fame legacy, and Kyron Williams will get his first. Blake Corum will get his first. All these guys. And who knows, maybe, like I said, there's going to be more stars out there. But I'm guaranteeing the Rams to win Super Bowl 61.
I love it. I need Stafford to bring me home that ring next Valentine's Day. I'll be
Yes.
marking my calendar.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The Super Bowl is Valentine's Day, February 14th this
Yes,
year. So.
unfortunately for us married people, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, my prediction will be right, and the Rams will be Super Bowl champs. But we'll have plenty of episodes before February 15th of 2027 when we're celebrating the Rams winning the Super Bowl. We'll have plenty of episodes before then. We got a whole year until then. So that's season 1 in the books from the Ramblin' Rams podcast. Jordan, like I said last episode, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been great, and we'll continue to make some great content, whether you can follow our Instagram, Ramblin' Rams, or you can find the Ramblin' Rams podcast here on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to watch your podcasts. It's there. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Ramblin' Rams, and horns up.
Horns up.